Time to sit back, relax. Just that show. No rules, no regulation. Just some real speak, some real talk. So people ready to take this ride. We get ready to take off. Let's go.
Welcome, podcasters and listeners out there. You have tuned into the Just Us Show. I am one of your hosts. My name is Woody. We're a partner, Vaughn. Vaughn, go ahead and let the people know.
What's going on, podcast? Us, the Just Us Show for the first time.
Yes, sir. This is our very first show, as was stated. So our show is a little bit different than others. It's not your typical sports talk or entertainment talk. We touch on a little bit of everything. Everything as if we would be doing back in the old job, you know, just a little shop talk. That's the way we're gonna do it here today. So hopefully y'all stay with us as far as listeners. We're gonna kick it off. First thing, Monday Night Football last night. The Chicago Bears, San Diego Chargers. I don't know if anybody really was interested. Both of these teams have losing records right now. Don't like they're gonna do too much. Vaughn, what did you think about the game? What's your takeaway?
Honestly, I thought it was a pretty decent game between the two. I mean, if you enjoy football like I do, any NFL game is worth watching as long as it's not a blowout. But between the two teams, honestly, I don't think San Diego has much of a chance to come back in their division. With Denver playing the way they are, and even Chicago could get back into the North or really there's not too many teams. Detroit's horrible.
Well, Minnesota's okay.
Minnesota's good. Green Bay looks like the wheels getting ready to start falling off.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. But me personally, man, as far as the game, I didn't take too much away from it. I mean, because honestly, unless you're a Chargers fan or a Bears fan, or you have some kind of fantasy football vested into it, you know, it didn't really matter too much in the whole big scheme of things. So I didn't really watch too much. I watched the very beginning of the game, and I think I was done by halftime. So
that's probably why I watched it, because I had Langford in for the first time, starting on my team, so I had to keep tabs on him.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. You know, that's what I guess that's what the NFL wants. You know, that's why they seem to be pushing all this fantasy football left and right. It brings in more people to watch, more people are invested into the games. You know, so that's kind of how it is. I mean, especially if you have a team like my team. You know, I'm a Niner fan, so we're not doing too good this year. So after a while, it's almost to a point where there's nothing for me to really watch football for. But as an NFL fan, like I'm saying, you know, you'll watch any NFL game as a true fan. And you know, but like I said, that one last night, I slept on. I didn't even really pay too much attention to it. But what we will talk about, we'll get into. Last week is over with. We're gonna get into what's coming up this Sunday. Huge game, Vaughn. I know you know about it. New England versus the Giants in New York. What's your take on that game?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying I'm a little biased because I am a Giants fan. But I do think it could be a very good game or it could be a very bad game for us, depending on how much of a pass rush we can generate. I know that's the biggest concern with the Giants. As long as I've been a fan for the past 20-some-odd years, we've always had a defensive line. Strong defensive ends, defensive tackles could penetrate, get pressure on the quarterback. And that was our success to beating Brady the previous 2 or 3 times. But with JPP just coming back, he looked pretty good against Tampa, you know, just coming back from the injury.
Yeah.
But can he generate pressure, even though we just lost another defensive lineman? Can we generate that pressure is the question.
Right. I mean, that's a good question. Can they? I hope so. I'm not a New England Patriots hater, you know, but I do root against them from time to time just because, you know, I just do. But
and real quick, let me correct that. Jonathan Hankins. I don't want to leave Big Hank out there as that defensive tackle. So we did lose Jonathan Hankins, one of our best defensive players who's been there for the past couple of years.
Yeah, Hank has been playing pretty well. But the thing about it is, the one thing I've always noticed watching the New York Giants and the Patriots, it depends on, I mean, it seems like no matter what's going on with the Giants at the time or what's going on with the Patriots at the time, the Giants somehow find a way to beat them. You know, they find a way to overcome whatever happens and just go ahead and beat the Patriots, you know, which is always a good thing in my opinion. I mean, just you look at back when they played in the Super Bowl, back when it was 07, the Patriots were coming in, you know, had won every game. I mean, they were killing people. Had Randy Moss. I mean, Wes Welker was there. I mean, Tom Brady was lighting it up that season. And the Giants, they kind of limped into the playoffs that year. I want to say they came in as a wild card team and had to win every game on the road. But the Giants end up when they get to the Super Bowl. I still remember Tom Brady sitting up there talking about, you know, how the Giants was going to limit them to 14 points, and how he kind of laughed at it. And then they got out there. The Giants got out there and put it on them. That was the first time. So you could say, okay, well maybe it was a little bit of luck. Maybe the Patriots underestimated the Giants at that time.
People like Skip Bayless like to say the Tyree Eli Manning catch was lucky. Yeah, it was lucky, but the end result was a win.
I don't think there's a great play ever in any kind of sport that there's a little bit of luck that didn't play a little bit of part in there. You know, like no matter what it is. I mean, like Montana to Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone, while everybody else thought he was throwing it away. Dwight Clark, you know, probably jumped higher than he ever jumped in his life to snag that ball, and it's a total different landscape with the Niners in the early '80s, you know, and going on to be that kind of dynasty that they were through the '80s and the '90s, and then the same thing with Tom Brady with that tuck rule that nobody knew about. I mean, that thing just kind of came out of the woodworks, you know. I mean, how lucky was it that they decided to enforce that play on that time when the Raiders looked like they all but had the game wrapped up at the time. Granted, yeah, they still needed to finish the game out either way, both teams, but that's to me when it comes down to being a great team and making a great play or something that changes history,
game-changing play.
Right, you know, a little bit of luck is always gonna have to be there. I mean, I'm a Laker fan. Watching when Shaq tipped that ball out and Robert Horry's at the top of the key to splash that one against the Kings. I mean, there's luck in everything. Big shot, like they called him Big Shot Rob. Yeah, he can make them, but come on, man, a little bit of luck in everything. So for the haters out there that go against the Giants because of that play or whatever else, it is what it is. They're gonna always talk about it, just like the Raiders fans gonna always talk about the tuck rule. You know, it is what it is. There's certain things that are always going to happen, but like I said, no matter what happens, I just hope this game on Sunday is a good game. I hope it's not over by the half. The Giants,
unless we're winning really, really good.
Well, but I mean, yeah, as a Giants fan, of course, that's what you want.
Blow them out, yeah.
But as an NFL fan, I want to see some drama. I want to see a great game between both those teams. You know, so that's just what I'm looking forward to on that. Now, we get into the NFL season. We're halfway through the NFL season right now. Got a couple undefeated teams. You know, the Patriots still undefeated. Hopefully they won't be on Sunday. The Cincinnati Bengals are undefeated, 8-0. And then the other team in the NFC, Carolina Panthers, I don't think anybody saw the Carolina Panthers being here. I don't even think Carolina saw themselves being 8-0 right now. I mean, they've already beaten Green Bay. They've beaten Seattle. I mean, they've beaten some good teams and even Cincinnati. Excuse me, I'm sorry, they didn't play Cincinnati yet, but they've beaten some good teams as of this moment right now. So I don't know if they thought they were going to be at this point 8-0. But Vaughn, what do you think? Do you think that Carolina is the best team in the NFC?
Well, their record says they are, so I'll go with yes, they are the best team in the NFC. The way they've played, I mean, like they said, their wins aren't pretty. They're pretty ugly, but they're not pretty. But they do manage to get the win. They play team defense. The cornerback Norman is playing out of his mind right now.
Yes, he is.
The defense, Kuechly and Thomas Davis are two very good middle linebackers, so they have a really strong defense. The offense is playing well. Devin Funchess seems to be coming into his own with the catches he made on Sunday.
Right.
Greg Olsen is playing really good ball, and Cam is making smart decisions. So I think actually they are the best team in the NFC until somebody beats them.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, I guess you could look at it and say that, but like they always talk about the eye test. I mean, when you look at Carolina versus like a Minnesota, Minnesota 6-2, Seattle, their record, they're coming up. Arizona, I think they only got 2 or 3 losses. I think 2 losses. Green Bay still in the mix, even though Carolina beat them. I don't know if I would be able to say Carolina. I mean, maybe it's just going to take. Maybe Carolina's going to be 16-0 before I decide to say, I think they're actually a decent team. I think it's just because I've seen Carolina too many times have decent seasons and a good defense, a good running game, and Cam plays. He does what he does, and you just see that they don't finish the job. Like once they get to the playoffs, they don't seem to finish the job. And then you got other teams like like the New York Giants or even like the Pittsburgh Steelers and teams like that if they can make it to the playoffs, they seem to make the most of it. They don't disappoint you. Like the one thing they talk about the Bengals. They 8-0, but it don't matter if you lose in the second round of the playoffs. I mean, because most likely they'll have a bye. So
4 or 5 years they lost in the first round.
Exactly. That's so that's I think that's the same way. I'm not saying the Panthers are in the same boat as the Bengals, but to an extent, they are. Me personally, if I were to pick one team in the NFC right now, as crazy as it may sound, me personally, I think the best team in the NFC is. I really like the Giants too, Ron. I know you like that. I really like the Giants, but I think the best team in the NFC is still the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, the two-time NFC champions. I think they're the scariest team. I think they're that one team that nobody wants to face if it comes to the playoffs. I mean, regardless how good Arizona's playing, and even though Carolina's playing well right now and things like that, I just think, and Carolina beat them. I just think if it comes to a playoff setting, that the Seattle Seahawks will win the game. Once you get to the playoffs.
Playoff setting, it's going to be in Carolina.
Right, and that's the thing.
So
Seattle,
Carolina has the advantage there, and they play very well at home. And Seattle's not that great of a road team.
Well, they're not. But once you get to the playoffs, and granted, I know Carolina, it's not going to be like Buffalo in the wintertime, but Carolina, you can be playing big boy football when it comes to the playoffs. And I think Seattle, of any team really in the NFC, even when I'm looking at, well, with maybe the exception of the Giants, but when I'm looking at Green Bay, when I'm looking at Arizona or even Minnesota, I mean, granted, they got a great running game, but after you kind of stop and shut down Adrian Peterson, I don't know if Teddy Bridgewater on the road in the playoffs could overcome like a Carolina Panthers. But I believe that a Seattle team could do that. Granted, like I said, they play so much better at home than they do on the road. I would just, if I had to put my money on it, I would still put my money on Seattle. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm a Niner fan, so I have no love. I have no love at all for the Seattle Seahawks. But just over time, just watching these guys, man, they just seem to be the team in the NFC that I think can beat anybody on any given Sunday anywhere. So that's just what I see in the NFC.
They could. I'll give you that. But at the end of the day, if it's Carolina and Seattle, I'm going Carolina. They always have tough, down-to-the-line games. Right. Nobody's blowing anybody out. But Carolina always seems to have that extra amount of energy at the end of the game to close it out. And get that field goal, get that game-winning drive going. So I had to go with Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I think it's going to be a good playoffs because I think the best thing for the NFL is to have a playoff, especially in the NFC, where you don't know what team is coming out of the NFC. I think that's a good thing for anyone who gets in, which makes the fight for the playoffs even that much better because if you can just get in, if Dallas can maintain, some people are still holding out hope. Them Cowboys fans, I personally think they're done, but them Cowboys fans, they hold out that hope that if they can just squeak into the playoffs, that they can do something. I got a question for you, Vaughn. Like if I know a lot of people don't agree with me on this subject, but what's your opinion of Dez Bryant, man? What do you think about Dez Bryant? Now let me clarify.
There's no bias here. I'm going to be unbiased here. Dez Bryant is one of the top 5 receivers in the league right now. Okay. If he was on another team, I'd like him. But since he plays for the Cowboys, I can't stand him.
Now, I understand that. This is the question. This is what I'm getting at. Is so many people, man, think that, I mean, all these NFL aficionados, players, whoever you ask, they'll tell you to a man the best player or the best wide receiver in the NFL is Dez Bryant. I mean, and they'll be like, everybody else just kind of falls in after Dez Bryant. Me personally, I don't see Dez as the best wide receiver. I mean, even if he was 100% healthy, I don't see Dez as the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Antonio Bryant is the best wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Well, see, and that's your opinion. What my opinion, if I had to rank the top 5 receivers in the NFL, in my opinion, this is just me. I'm probably hated for this, but it is what it is. I think number 5 would be Dez Bryant. Now, Dez, I don't think any wide receiver wants it more than Dez Bryant, so I will give him that. And he has the physical tools and everything else, but I don't see Dez as that game changer that can win that game for you by himself. That's just what I don't see that from Dez. So I would put him number 5. At number 4, I would probably go with maybe Antonio Bryant. Now I know a lot of people don't understand that either, but one thing that we've shown this year is Antonio goes as Ben Roethlisberger goes. when Ben is there, Antonio's the man. I mean, come on, he what do you have? Almost 300 yards last week.
284, 287 yards, I believe.
Right. I mean, he's the man. He's killing it. But like I said, he goes as Ben Roethlisberger goes. I mean, I give it to him. He's a small receiver. You know, short in stature, big and hard. Not that whole nine. I understand all that, but sometimes, you know, there's been a couple games this week or a couple games this year where Antonio Brown has been forgotten about. You know, so that's why I would put him at number 4. At number 3, that's a little difficult. At number 3, who would I'd probably look at it and even though he's a young guy, man, he's brand new, I would have to put Amari Cooper there, man. You know, and I know, like I said, this is just my opinion, but what I've seen so far from Amari Cooper is this guy can do it all. I mean, he's bigger and thicker than I think a lot of people realize. Man, you know, he's a strong runner, and he's a strong a wide receiver. He looks like so far he's doing a good job blocking. He can catch the ball every time. You know, every time Carr gets in trouble and he throws it to him, it seems like he's always making moves. Now, some people might say it's because Crabtree on the other side is taking off some of the pressure from him and this and that. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but that just started.
Right, maybe. But to me, I think Amari Cooper, man, I think he's a really young, up and coming player that I think in a couple years, man, he's going to be considered one of the top 2 wide receivers. I mean, right now I got him at number 3. So I think in a couple years he's going to be up there. Number 2 in the league, you know, Vaughn, I know you're probably going to be happy with this one, maybe. But I got Odell Beckham Jr., man. The one thing I'd say when I look at ODB, man, is the fact that no matter who's on him, no matter what's going on, that dude will I mean, not only will he make the dramatic and spectacular catch, but he's a gamer. I mean, he's always involved in the game. And, I mean, yeah, you know, sometimes he may get a little bit out of whack and, you know, go crazy and this and that and maybe say some stuff or do some stuff that you don't like when he's punching the Gatorade deal the other day. I mean, that's kind of crazy for a wide receiver.
For him to do that, he was upset over the play that he ended up causing an interception.
Right. I mean, I understand that.
He knows he should have caught that ball first of all, because hit your hands, you didn't catch.
Right. And that's the thing.
He showed he was upset and that it was his fault and he took responsibility for it. And came out and played good the rest of the game.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you break your hand because you're upset,
he didn't hit it.
Now you're gonna be out for a much longer time.
He hit it hard. He didn't hit it that hard.
I don't know. I wasn't.
Watch, his hand slid down it. He wasn't trying to punch through it. He was just trying to make it look like it. He was mad.
So he was doing that phony fighting right there. That's just saying, you know,
that was some WWE type stuff.
Hey, well, you know, that works. But like I said, I think ODB, and like I said, his numbers back it up too. You know, with him coming into the league, this dude is setting the league on fire, man. Everything that he's doing. But like I said, I think he's the number 2 receiver. And to me, I don't care what nobody says about this, man. To me, the number 1 receiver in the NFL has got to be Julio Jones, man.
Yeah.
I think this dude has all the skills. Imagine if you can put Dez Bryant's heart and I guess you would say ODB's spectacular acrobatic catches and everything he does, and Antonio's speed.
Athleticism.
Right, yeah. I mean, you throw all that together, man. You get Julio Jones, man. I mean, granted, yeah, he needs to bring up his intensity maybe a little bit more, but other than that, man, there's really no flaws to Julio Jones, man. And I think he's that one receiver that if you got one play to win, you can throw it up to Julio, and he's gonna either come down with it, or if he don't come down with it, it's gonna be borderline pass interference.
Well, he damn sure did that against us when they beat us week 2, which we never should have lost that game either.
Yeah. But I just to me, Julio Jones is my number 1 receiver in the NFL, and that, like I said, this is just me. This is just me talking. You know, I don't got stuff written down. I'm just going off the dome. I'm just trying to remember, you know, who I look at, who I think is the best. So, I mean, like I said, if y'all, you know, somebody out there may have stats to prove me wrong, and you know, I know the Cowboys, the Dez lovers, you know, they probably think I got the thing backwards, but it is what it is. This is our podcast. This is just what I'm gonna say, and that's all it is to it, you know. But if you disagree with anything I say, that's your right. That's your opinion, and I'm thankful for that, you know. But it's just not mine. That's just what I think. Now we're about the halfway point in the NFL season. Another thing I want to get to, Ron, right now, who would be your Super Bowl prediction right now? What 2 teams do you think would be there? And if they were going to be there, what team do you think would win at this point, halfway through the season?
It's kind of tough. It's a little tough to choose right now. I gotta go. Carolina is definitely one of the teams I can see in the NFC Championship game. Maybe even Arizona.
You think so?
Yeah, I can see those two battling out to represent the NFC. AFC wise, it's hard to tell. I don't know what type of team Cincinnati's going to be. Who knows if they're even going to get past the first round again. We'll see. So New England, they can always be there. And Denver depends on if their defense can get back to where they were supposed to be and get that running game going.
Right.
To protect Peyton. Peyton, I think, will be all right. So I think Denver could possibly be there, too. So I'll go with, let me go Carolina and New England. A rematch from Super Bowl that was played in, 2003?
I don't even know. It was so long ago. So that's your matchup. Who wins?
Carolina.
Carolina. You think Carolina will beat them?
Carolina by 3.
Oh, okay. I think that'd be a good Super Bowl right there. Me personally, like I said, once again, I'm not sold on Carolina. So in the NFC, and also, as crazy as it may sound, even though I do like the Packers, I'm not sold on Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, man. I mean, I know he's a good guy. He's a good player when it comes to the regular season, but I think he kind of has a little bit of Peyton Manning in him where he, I don't know, just for some reason his teams underachieve when they get to the playoffs. So I'm not sold on Green Bay. I'm definitely not sold on Arizona because
I don't know. I've watched Arizona play a couple games now, and that defense is pretty good.
I mean, you're right. They do have a good defense, but the thing is,
Palmer's playing pretty good.
You're right. I mean,
on the receiver, he's good.
All those things are true.
Chris Johnson is C2. What the hell? From back when he was leading the league in rushing.
What they call him, CJ2K?
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. They have all the pieces in place to be a contender in the playoffs.
I mean, you're right. I definitely do believe that they have all the pieces, but I'm still just not sold on them. I mean, if you look at Arizona and us being here in Phoenix, you get to see all the Arizona games, and Arizona they beat some teams that every team that they beat they should have beat, and then they lost to 2 teams that, in my opinion, are better than them. They lost to Pittsburgh, and they also lost to.
But Pittsburgh wasn't better than them.
I believe Pittsburgh is better than them. I believe they are.
I disagree with that.
I think if Pittsburgh played Arizona 10 times, Pittsburgh would win at least 7 of them.
At the current state?
Well, that's the thing, not the current state, but Pittsburgh at the time. And you got to think about it. When Arizona played Pittsburgh, Roethlisberger didn't even play.
That's true.
So I mean, you look at a fully healthy Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, that was what's his name was playing. Landry Jones was the quarterback in that game.
Because Vic got hurt the week before, right?
Right. Yeah. And Landry came in to finish that game, the previous game, and then he was out against the Cardinals. So, like I said, the Cardinals, the really 2 teams that they played that were good teams. I just lost it. I just talking about them. Pittsburgh and what's the other team they just lost to? St. Louis.
Well, St. Louis is tough for any team within that division. They always play each other tough, so that was just a tough game. And Gurley is the second coming of Adrian Peterson. Could be better than Adrian Peterson.
Possibly. The numbers right now are showing he's right up there. But I just think Arizona, once they start playing, and Rush, my man Rush out there, if you're listening. Me and him, we debate all the time. He's a Cardinal fan, so we be going back and forth a lot of times. And I told him, man, I said, man, when y'all play some tough teams, you'll lose them games. And then, like I said, when they played Pittsburgh, I told them before the Pittsburgh game, they was going to lose, and they did. And I told them with the Rams, they was going to lose, and they did. They beat the Browns last week. I do have love for the Cardinals because I think they're better than they have been. And being here, they've been bad for so long. So it is good to see them being good, but as far as winning the Super Bowl, I don't see them. Me, like I said, if I had to pick 2 teams to make it in the NFC, I think it comes down to 2 teams. And like I said, people may think I'm crazy for saying this, but my 2 NFC teams for the NFC Championship somehow, if they can match up that way, would be Seattle and the Giants, man. I just think both of those 2 teams, when all the dust clears, those are going to be the last two teams standing, or the best two teams in the NFC. I believe either one of those teams can beat Carolina in Carolina, could beat Arizona in Arizona, and could beat Green Bay in Green Bay, or Minnesota in Minnesota. I just believe those two teams, when it comes down to it, would be the best two. And out of them two teams, between Seattle and the Giants, I mean, right now, man, I love what the Giants are doing. And maybe if we revisit this next week, I'll probably pick the Giants. But as of right now, today, I'd pick Seattle, man, in the NFC to represent the NFC. And in the AFC, man, as boring as this is, man, I think the Patriots gonna be there. So I think it's gonna be a rematch of last year. I think if those two teams get back, Pete Carroll, you know, everybody. I know everybody killed him for that call. I was probably the one guy that thought it wasn't that big of a deal, you know, for them not to run Marshawn on the one.
Because you didn't want them to. So
Let's
put that out there first.
Yeah, you're right.
You didn't want them to win the game. So
you're right.
Them throwing the ball.
You're right. I did not want them to win, but either way, they lost. That's all that matters. It's in the books. But I do believe if I would have picked today, that I would have Seattle versus New England in the Super Bowl. New England would probably win again. As much as I hate to say it, New England would probably win again. You know.
No, you don't have to say it.
I do hate to say it.
You want to say it because
because I hate. I don't say I hate
Seattle to win.
You know what?
I would never. This whole nother. Let's switch it around. I would never go for the Cowboys to beat New England in the Super Bowl. I would be the biggest Patriots fan that you've ever known.
Well, but see, it's different.
I hate the Cowboys that much.
But see, it's different though, because as crazy as it may sound, the Giants, the Patriots beating the Cowboys, it's almost like the Giants' victory, because the Giants is a team that can always beat the Patriots. So no matter it, so when 20 years, 30 years from now, when we all sit back and we talk sports and this and that, when we talk about how great the Patriots were, the New York Giants fans can sit back and say, hey, they were great. No, they were excellent, but they couldn't beat us. The two times they played us in the Super Bowl, we beat them. So I mean, that's really all you have. When it comes down to it, in the end, when you can beat the champ, when you can beat the man, that everybody says is the man, you become the man by default. You know, so of course, you would root for the Patriots against anybody. You know,
anybody. No, I want the Patriots to win if they play the Cowboys. If the Cowboys, by some stroke of luck, got into the playoffs, I would want them to lose to any team they face. I don't want to see them win.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I understand that.
I can never pull for the Cowboys. Can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. You know, even though, like I said, I'm picking Seattle to go to Super Bowl right now. I can't stand them, man. But I do like Russell Wilson. I do believe he's the one guy. I mean, I don't know. Everybody, for some reason, when they look at these top quarterbacks, nobody gives love to Russell Wilson. Just like everybody, in my opinion, gives too much love to Dez Bryant, they don't give enough love for Russell Wilson, man. That's just my opinion. What I see when I see Russell Wilson, I mean, I said I'm a Niner fan, so I watch Seattle all the time, and I try to look at the weaknesses of Seattle, and you know, you do that mind coaching where you're thinking, man, if we can just do this and we can do that against them, we can beat them, you know. But when I watch Seattle, no matter what we do, man, Russell Wilson in the end finds a way to beat us, or finds a way to energize that team, to keep drives going. I mean, no matter what happens, I believe Russell Wilson is one of the top quarterbacks in the league, no matter what anybody else says, you know.
Yeah, I'll give you that. He's good. But let's not forget that you are talking about the Niners that they're playing, right?
Right.
The current state of the
franchise. We're not talking about the current state.
It's not very great right now.
I'm talking about the last couple of years of Niners.
Not good at all.
Right.
But they did get a win. Congrats to Blaine Gabbert for getting a win. Because Colin had...
Why you being
Colin's lost the team. Colin needs to go to another team. He needs to start over again.
Well, you know what?
He could be the next Alex Smith, as you like to say.
No. Blaine Gabbert is the next Alex Smith. Colin Kaepernick is the Niners quarterback. What needs to happen is keep Cap and get rid of the rest of the fools, man. That's what they need to do. They need to get rid of the rest of the fools and keep Cap. Granted, yeah, Blaine Gabbert played great. He played a great game against the Falcons last week. You know, congratulations. It was a home win. But people seem to just, you know, there's a couple things, and like I'm a Niner fan, so I'll take the win. But you threw 2 touchdowns to the tight end, Garrett Selleck, but you also threw 2 picks. You know, Dan Quinn kicked the field goal when they're at the 1 foot line, basically, instead of going for the touchdown or going for the win. So a lot of things happen to basically keep that, to preserve that win. Could Colin Kaepernick have done that? The way the game was played on Sunday, Colin could have won that game. Now I don't know. Maybe he did need to sit down to get his confidence right and this and that. I don't know mentally what's going on with him, but I believe that he's still the best quarterback for the Niners. That's just my opinion as a Niner fan. Now, what they'll do, the Niners ain't doing nothing that I want them to do. That's just how it is. They always seem to make the dumbest move. So Colin probably will be gone. He'll probably go to Philly or one of them teams that need him, and he'll probably go on a winning streak there, and then we'll be looking like fools again in San Francisco.
No, because you had Colin. When Alex Smith left, you had Colin, and Colin was winning you games.
Right.
So really, you didn't look bad. You just looked like Alex Smith needed to change scenery, and he wasn't working out. Even though he actually was playing very well when you guys decided to get rid of him.
Well, see, but the difference with Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick is Alex Smith had been there years, and he's had bad years over and over and over, and then finally Harbaugh gets there, and then they start winning. So you look at the equation, and you say, well, what's the difference? Why are we winning now all of a sudden? Is it because of Alex Smith just all of a sudden became a great NFL quarterback or a top 10 quarterback? Or was it because Harbaugh came in there and changed the scheme and did some different things? So that's why we moved on from him. The thing with Colin Kaepernick is he's had good years. Last year they were 8-8. It wasn't the greatest year, but last year there was a lot of injuries, which every team has them. And there was a lot of behind the scenes things going on with Harbaugh. Nobody really knows. I mean, the only people that really know is the people that was there. They ain't talking, which is a good thing. Because I'm sure there was a lot of drama and foolishness, but we really don't know what was going on. Maybe Colin was losing his confidence last year while it was going on. But now all of a sudden, I mean, he played 7 games, 8 games, and you're going to basically judge him by 8 games and say, oh, he's trash now. I just don't believe. I think if he had a bad year this year, maybe a bad year next year, then you can start looking and be like, yeah.
But he's already started regressing. He started regressing last year.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. They had a lot of things going on last year. When everything was good, when structurally the team was good, the coaches were good, everything was in place. Colin Kaepernick was a great quarterback, and he was doing great things. Then all of a sudden the foundation starts crumbling. I shouldn't say the foundation. The ownership, everything.
The foundation has crumbled.
Well,
let's say this: Colin's not a bad quarterback. Just needs to go somewhere else. Get a fresh start. Continue on with his career.
But what's the difference, though? That's what I'm saying. If Colin Kaepernick if Colin Kaepernick is not the answer, no matter where he goes, he should fail, right?
He's not the answer there.
Right, because who they have there.
The system there is not working for him.
Right, because of that all starts with ownership.
They're not going to do anything for him right now because they see him as a problem.
And that's the problem. That's the biggest problem. No matter who you get in there.
I think they wanted to get rid of him last year.
Yeah, they did. They most likely did.
So move on from him. Let him go. Let him move on, have success elsewhere, and then continue on rebuilding. Because
right.
Tom Sue's not the answer, coach. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
There's so much stuff going on with the team. I mean, just blow it up, start over.
Yeah, I mean they've blown it up themselves, so it is time to start over. But I don't know. Hopefully one day my Niners will get it right. Now, a couple other things as far as the NFL goes. This whole Greg Hardy thing, the whole Greg Hardy incident. What's your thoughts on this whole Greg Hardy thing, like him playing, and now the pictures are coming out, and the whole trial, everything. What's your thoughts on that?
Personally, I don't think he should be playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just as a man, period, you don't put your hands on a woman. You should not do that. No woman deserves to be beaten. Whatever he did, that was alleged that he did, thrown on the bed with the guns and all that stuff, none of that should have happened. And the fact that they knew that it happened, and he was convicted, and the only reason he got off was because she wouldn't testify, that doesn't mean that he didn't do it.
Right.
So why did the league even let him back in?
Right. Well,
and to a certain extent, I got to say this, the Players Association, yeah, I know they have to do certain things, but at the end of the day, you're still looking at a man who beat up a woman.
Right.
If Ray Rice did the same thing, y'all saw that, and he ain't even back yet.
Yeah. He probably never will be.
But like they said earlier, talent. If Ray was still deemed as a viable running back, that he would get in the league.
Right.
I can see that point, but at the same time, I actually think he should be able to come back because of what he's done since the incident.
Yeah.
He's taking responsibility. Whereas Greg Hardy, to me, so far hasn't.
Right. I mean, Greg Hardy's job is to throw around grown men who are 300 pounds and then go smash another grown man who's 200, 250. That's his job. Greg Hardy's job is to wreak havoc on grown men. That's his job. Imagine, I mean, you definitely know he can wreak havoc on a woman. You know, it's a bad look. It's a bad look for him. It's a bad look for the NFL for him to be playing. It's a bad look for the Cowboys. I mean, because it almost shows you what Jerry Jones is really about. You know,
winning trumps everything.
Right. I mean, and he hasn't even done that.
And the whole second chance, people give him second chance thing. Yeah, right. I guess the photos they've seen the photos since April.
Right. From
what I've heard. So if you saw the photos and you still bring him onto the team, then that says your priorities are with winning.
Right. That's 100% what it says.
If you win, he could have killed somebody. He could have slapped your mom. You wouldn't care.
Well, slapping the mom, you know, that's overboard. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. Okay. You know, and that's really all it is, man. It's about selling tickets. It's about, you know, selling that dream that you can win a Super Bowl. People think that Super Bowl wins trump everything. You know, they mask everything. And I know this. Well, I'm not gonna say it's off subject, but it's a little different subject. You know, you remember back in the beginning. I mean, now stay with me. This kind of ties into this, but remember back in the beginning of the season, man, when Cam Chancellor was on his holdout. Mm-hmm. What did you think about Cam Chancellor holding out against Seattle? What did you think about that? Because I have a totally different take than most people do on that, most likely. But what did you think on that?
I think they should have paid him. He outperformed his contract. You saw how valuable he was to the team when he didn't show up. Mm-hmm. So he should have got his money.
Now, do you think he should have stayed held out? You know, think he should have just stayed at home?
If he could afford it financially, yes. But like he said, he still loves the organization, the team. Those are still his teammates. He still cares for the team. So yeah, he wants to come back and help them win.
Right. Well, now I understand that. Now that's where all the NFL heads, that's where all the fans, that's where everybody looks at. You know, man, you know, you're letting your team down by not being there, Cam. You're doing this, you're doing that. Man, we can win another Super Bowl. We're in that window. Our window's closing. And I understand all of that. But this is another side that this is the way I thought of it. This is why I think Cam Chancellor should have held out until they gave him his money. And now, granted, I know everybody out there, man, he just got a new contract. What kind of precedents are you setting?
That. I'm saying partly because his teammates, and the other half is he's getting fined. He's losing money.
Right, I understand that.
You're looking for more money,
but all that can be waived.
Money.
But all that can be waived. That's a team policy, not an NFL policy. All that can be waived. Now, this is the reason why I say that he should have held out. Cam Chancellor, when he comes to the Legion of Boom, Cam Chancellor is the hard hitter of that team, of that secondary unit. He's the one that's doing it. Now, you know, everybody who ever played football or ever played any kind of contact sport knows when you hit something, both feel the impact. Now, the players like Vernon Davis, when Cam hit him, some of the other guys, the running backs that come through the hole, Cam is laying the wood on these guys, and he's laying them more than Earl Thomas, you know, more than Richard Sherman, more than the rest of them guys. Cam is bringing that boom to the Legion of Boom. So basically, Cam Chancellor's probably got to be thinking about how much head trauma he's getting, how much his body is aching. I mean, me and you, we weren't in the NFL, but both of us, I mean, you know, we both have our own little injuries and nagging things that we won't live with for the rest of our life. Right. We're not professional athletes. We're not in the NFL where you're doing this all the time. Cam is doing this week in and week out at practice. He's doing it. Granted, he's taking care of his body and stuff, but there's a certain toll that's being taken on his body every year. You know, and it's accelerated because it's only a small window of his body, of his lifetime that he's taking these hits. So what I'm saying is, Cam Chancellor is the boom of this. And what happens if Cam Chancellor gets injured? If he gets hurt, like, you know, his brain is jacked up, or he breaks his back, or something like that. What happens then? Basically what I'm saying is, winning a Super Bowl doesn't trump the rest of your life, your well-being. Exactly, it doesn't trump that. So I think Cam should have held out for his money. I mean, and granted, people are saying, "Oh, it's only $900,000." When you have $900,000 worth of medical bills, that money means a lot. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much it's going to be, but I'm just saying, every little bit of money that these guys get. Granted, they get paid a whole lot, but whatever they can get, they deserve. You know, and if you're an important part like that, like I said, granted, regardless if he already had a contract or not, if this dude is the one who's putting his health and well-being on the line, then the man should get paid. You know.
Yeah.
Because like how you see all these guys with these NFL players with CTE, nobody knows. Cam Chancellor, everybody loves Cam right now, but in 20 years, when Cam Chancellor's suicidal, when he's going crazy, like what happened with Junior Seau and these guys, where's a Super Bowl ring is not going to matter. You know, that you were one of the Legion of Boom, that's not going to matter. You know, the people of Seattle, they're not going to take care of him. They're not going to come to his house every day and feed him and clothe him and do all that kind of stuff. So that's why I say, man, yes, it's great to be a teammate. It's great to have the privilege of playing in the NFL and being part of a winning team with that window to make history. But when your NFL or your professional sports time is done and life happens, you gotta live with the rest of this, with all these bumps, bruises, and everything else. You know, you gotta live with that. So in my opinion, Cam should have did what he had to do and held out forever. You know, as long as he could have, in my opinion. To step down. I mean, and the thing is, this dude made his own bed. I mean, all the allegations that was going on, all the things that these kids still, you know, these young men and women were bringing up to this guy, or were coming across his desk. I mean, granted, maybe he was working some of it. We don't know. But the bottom line, those guys that were living there, they didn't see the change. So they did what they had to do to stop it. You know, yeah, it got the most notoriety when the football team said, hey, we're not going to do it because, you know, that's college football. That's money. That's everything else. So that's a huge black eye for your team to willingly not participate. And it wasn't just the black students, the black players. It was the entire team that stood together, the coach, everything. I mean, it was big risk on everyone's side to do that. So I believe they did the right thing. I think it's a great thing, man, to see young kids that are around that age. I mean, you know, we've dealt with them. You know, being in the military, dealing with them young guys. You know, the 18s, 19s, the 20-somethings. A lot of them seem like, you know, they didn't have no direction. So for all these young guys, young people to get together like that for a good cause, you know, I mean, they weren't protesting that, you know, they ain't gonna serve. That they ain't gonna play hip hop on Fridays, and you know, they weren't protesting nothing like that. They were protesting something that was real, you know. So I think it was a great thing for them to come together and do that. You know, like I said, any means necessary. And what I'm looking forward to mostly, man, is you know, I don't mean to make light on it because granted, it was great things that happened. I'm looking forward to the movie of this whole thing, man. The whole state of this Missouri. I'm looking for the movie of this, man. Like what's gonna happen? They're gonna have like these old guys like Derek Luke gonna come. You know, Derek Luke, he gonna have to play some kind of wise mentor on campus. You probably gonna have some of them young cats from what's that, Empire, playing some of the Missouri students and stuff. You know, you probably have some of the older actors like the James Woods, you know, coming in there doing something like the Billy Zanes. You know, some of these guys gonna come in and play these big roles of the chancellor and the president and stuff like that. So I'm looking for the movie that's gonna come out, man. Because I know, you know, that's how it is, man. Anytime there's a big story, man, some Hollywood producer gets on that script, man, gets his script writers together and they come up with some production. So that's what I'm looking forward to on that whole situation, man. What do you think?
I personally think that, like I said earlier, I mean, the football team stepping in, it seemed like that was the final deciding factor.
Right.
That's what made a difference. I just wish it had been more. I'm glad that it made a difference, but I wish that the fact that the young man was going on a 100 strike and the fact that the students were voicing their opinions, showing their distrust for what was going on within the university, that should have made a difference. But to me, I honestly think it was ultimately up to the football team. If they hadn't done it, he would still be there.
Yeah.
But now that he's gone, what's the plan to fix it? What is the plan to stop the students, the white students who were doing these racist acts towards the black students and the other minority students.
Right.
What is going to stop that?
Yeah,
that's what I'm worried about now.
Yeah, that's the tough thing, the aftermath after a decision like that, because you already know what's going to happen. I mean, publicly it's probably not going to come out, but on that campus, with the being such a minority of black students, I mean, and that's other minorities in there too. I don't know the whole percentage, but with it being a small amount of them there, you're gonna come out and there's gonna be a backlash there. Like the people that aren't gonna be out there, putting the things on YouTube and on Vines and on Instagram. There's gonna be that everyday intermingling of classmates that some of the students, maybe some of the white students to some of the black students, there may be a little bit of anger or animosity, resentment, and that's the sad part about it. I hope that's not how it's going to be, but you never know, man. You never know how things are going to work out. I hope everything works out right, but my hope is that they can all move forward from this, and whatever happened in the past, they can kind of right that or take the necessary actions to prevent stuff like that, and so that they prevent it for the future. So hopefully that's what comes out of this whole thing for Missouri. But kudos to Missouri for standing together and making a change and making a difference in today. You don't see that.
No, you don't. You don't see too many of the youth doing much now. It seems like nobody cares anymore. Everybody's more concerned about their own personal life and or even, matter of fact, not their own personal life. They're more concerned with reality shows. Which,
yeah.
Why are you worried about somebody else if they're in an argument or their relationship isn't working? Your own relationship may not be working. So let's need to get back to focusing more on ourselves instead of this.
Yeah, no, I totally hear what you're saying, man. That makes sense to me. Yeah, so hopefully things will be changing, but that's gonna be our show for today, man. It was a great first show, in my opinion. We got on we didn't get to touch on everything that we wanted to, but it was a fun time. It was a good time. Like I said, today, happy birthday to the Marines today. 200 and something years. I don't know how, but they've been around for a while. Also tomorrow, Veterans Day. If you see a veteran, let them know. Thank you for serving the whole nine. Exactly. Because me and Vaughn, we was there. We been in it. We understand that life.
We do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I appreciate my time being there. I thought it was a great time. I appreciate those who came before me and those who were doing it now and the ones who will come later. But once again, this was the Just Us Show. There's ways you can hit us up. I mean, if you guys want to disagree with something that we got to say, or if you guys want to big up something that we said, there's different ways you can hit us up. We have a Facebook page. It's called Just Us. It's the Just Us Show Facebook page. You can hit us up there. Also, you can hit us up on Twitter. It's the Just Us Show. That's basically all it is. The Just Us Show. You can hit us up on Twitter. If we said some stuff today that you didn't like, whatever you want to do, you can shout us out. You can give us, if you want us to talk about a certain topic or whatever, you can hit us up there. Like I said, the more listeners we can get, man, the better. I mean, we enjoy doing this. This is kind of I wouldn't say it's our hobby, but it's our joy really to do this. So you can hit us up there. We're working on an Instagram page, so photos, whatever y'all want to do. Y'all can hit us up, but we thank y'all for listening out there. Thank y'all for spending y'all time today with us.
For sure.
Once again, from a man Vaughn, this is Woody. There's no rules, no regulations. It's just us signing out today, and we appreciate y'all.